2023 introduced so many new products that it's easier than ever to get an audiophile grade system built for under $500 and even $300. So sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's build a cheap system together. The first thing you need for your system is a source. After all, you need to get music into it. But Weem makes it super easy to get an affordable source that gives you a ton of options for not a lot of money. This is the Weem Mini. It comes in around $80. I'm going to talk about street prices too, because the prices on all these components fluctuate a little bit. Normally speaking, you can get a Weem Mini for less than $80. What you get with the Weem Mini is Bluetooth. You get Apple AirPlay 2. Then you get an entire streaming platform through Weem. That platform rivals the best in class, Blue Sound. Maybe not as pretty, but just as usable. With the Weem platform, you get Amazon Music, Tidal Music, Qobuz, Spotify. With the $80 option, you have an analog output via 3.5 millimeters. Also comes with a digital optical output. So if you ever want to improve this system, you can add an external digital to analog converter. We'll talk about that here too. If you want to step up for $150, and that's retail, sometimes this can be had for $125. This is the Weem Pro. Weem Pro gives you a little bit more options on the back. Now you have full-size RCA output, you have a digital optical output, you have a digital coaxial output, you have full-size RCA inputs, and you have a trigger output, which means you can remotely turn on a power amplifier when you turn this on. You can also hardwire your internet right into this. Sonically, these are going to be about the same. They both run off a 5-volt power supply, which means you would take something like a 5-volt charging brick and connect it right to here. With 5 volts, you can also upgrade these with a linear power supply later if you want to. So $150 to $125, $80 to $90, those are going to be our source. Those are your choices for sources. Let's talk about amplification. 2023 introduced us to 2 new awesome amplifiers. In the past, you could build out a system that was affordable, less than $500, less than $300. However, you didn't have the quality of amplification that you have today. This is probably no surprise. The amplifier that I'm recommending is the Fuzzy Audio ZA3. There are some options on it, but we have another choice as well. This is the IEMA A07 Pro. Both of these amplifiers can be run in what's called mono mode, which means you get more power, but you're going to have to buy 2 of these. The great thing about both of these amplifiers is that you can buy one initially, starting out. To get the most power out of either of these amps, you have to use a 48-volt 5-amp power supply. You don't need that to drive the speakers we're going to talk about today, but if you can afford to get the 48-volt option initially, it will save you some money in the long run, unless you already have a power supply at home. The differences between these amps really comes down to inputs. The Fuzzy Audio ZA3 has balanced XLR or TRS inputs and has a full-size subwoofer out. The A07, whoops, I kept calling it the Pro. It's actually the Max. I'm sorry, Max. A07 Max. No XLR or TRS input, so no balanced inputs, and it has an auxiliary out and not a subwoofer output. ZA3 comes in around $130, but most of the time these things are on sale. A07 Max comes in $30 cheaper. So if you get the Fuzzy plus the Weem Mini, you're at $200. If you get the A07 Max and the Weem Mini, around $180. Stick with me till the end, because I'm going to talk about how you can buy these products and actually upgrade them along the way, even if you don't have all that money up front. Speakers, probably no surprise here. This is the Sony SSC-S5. It's a 2.5-way speaker with a super tweeter. It has a 5.25-inch woofer, and this thing actually gives a little punch on the bottom end. More importantly, it gives a lot of air and detail on the top end. Is it a perfect speaker? Of course not. The street price for this is about $150. couple times a year it goes on sale for $120. Used to go all the way down to $90, and occasionally, sometimes, I don't think it went down to $90 in 2023. Anyway, current price on this speaker, $200. I don't think it really justifies $200. The problem is all the other speakers have gone up in price too, and if I had $200, I'm kind of hard pressed to find another speaker that sounds like this sounds. I like a little bit of air. I like some extension on top. A little excitement in the cymbals. Regardless, the Sony SSC S5 continues to be the speaker to beat under $200. Also consider these. These are the ELAC BS41 4-inch woofer. But with enough power, they put out a monumental amount of bass for their diminutive size. Street price on those are around $130. Right now, everything's selling at the top of its retail price, so about $160. They do require a bit more power. The good news is these new amps introduced in 2023 both put out enough power to be able to drive the BS41s. Sonically, they're a little bit different. I would say the BS41, more of a neutral speaker, maybe even a touch warm, little bit more rolled off on top, which means if you like to listen at louder volumes, the BS41 probably is the choice for you, because the Sony might get a little bit intense at 80, 85 dB and above. You could also consider the RSL CG3M. However, this is a very small speaker, very good speaker, but you're gonna need a subwoofer if you choose the RSLs. This is more kind of a home theater speaker. Think surrounds, think height speakers. The BS41 and the Sonys can stand on their own as a hi-fi speaker. You don't need a subwoofer. So if you go with the Sonys, you can use $130 as their street price. Actually, let's go $150. $150 plus $80 for the Weem, plus $150 for the Fuzzy Audio ZA3. You're coming in at $380. A lot of times you'll be able to get a little bit better deal on these too. If you want to go with the Weem Pro, which I would kind of recommend, if you can stretch it, just get the Weem Pro to begin with. Looking at $450. Now, if you get the A07 Max, this one right now is coming in at $82.79, plus there's a 10% off coupon. So this thing is in the $70 range. So you could get two of these for the same price as one Fuzzy Audio ZA3. Right now, you can get the A07 Max for $74.51. I'll add $80 for the Weem Mini and $150 for speakers. So you're coming at $304.51. With this setup, if you're going with the A07 Max, you could get the Weem Pro for the same amount of money for the system that had the Weem Mini with the Fuzzy Audio ZA3. Both awesome systems. We got some choices with those systems, and the amplification has gotten so good on these affordable amplifiers. So at this point, with this clean amplification, you're going to be able to hear differences in sources. So let's talk about how to upgrade these systems. The first thing I would do though is upgrade your DAC. This is the SMSL SU1. It's an $80 digital to analog converter. Pretty straightforward. On the back you have an optical input which you would take out of either the Weem Mini or the Weem Pro into your SU1, and then out of this into the A07 Max or the Fuzzy Audio ZA3. An additional $70. But what you get with the SU1 is a very capable AKM 4493 DAC chipset, and whatever they did inside, a very capable analog output stage, which sounds amazing. This has a fixed volume though, so you're still going to need to control volume off of either the ZA3, the A07 Max, or you can control the volume digitally off of the Weem products. So with this SU1 upgrade, you're gonna get improved clarity, improved instrument separation. You're going to get a larger soundstage, more depth, some more immersiveness. all for $70. Now you don't need to get that initially, right? You can buy this other stuff and upgrade along the way. And a DAC, digital analog converter, is probably the easiest and best way to improve the sound at the lowest price. If you added the SU1 to the Fozzy setup, that would put you right above $500. If you added it to the A07 Max from my IEMA system, you're still well under $500. The next upgrade that I would do personally is add another A07 Max or another ZA3, depending upon when you have the money. At that point, you're going to have two separate power supplies, one power supply for each amplifier running each speaker, which in theory gives one better channel separation. Channel separation just means is a little bit of the info from the left channel bleeding into the right channel, things like that. When you get better channel separation, again, you get better soundstage, better imaging, better instrument separation. So the other thing that you can do on both of these amplifiers, the A07 Max, yay, and the ZA3, is upgrade the op amp chips. ZA3 has 5 of them, but 2 of them are on the subwoofer output, so you really only need to upgrade 3. I don't know how many are in the A07 Max. I haven't cracked this one open. So you can start with these systems for not a lot of money and upgrade them along the way. Think about it as hot rodding your car. Put in a better air intake, add better wheels, put a sway bar on there. A lot of people are going to say in the comments, well, by the time you upgrade all these amps with the power supplies and the op amps and all that stuff, you might as well just bought something good used. Okay. Well, maybe not everybody has $500 to $1,000 to just put out there and buy this stuff. I know for me, when I was starting out, I would have loved to have components like this that I could upgrade incrementally along the way as I had more money. And this stuff sounds better than ever. Other options you could look at are the Numi BS5. It's a $100 speaker, $105 speaker. You could also look at the Numi Silk 4s. Those are about $150. If there's other options for speakers, put them in the comments. I don't think you can really do better than these amps. I don't think you can really do, I know you can't do better than the Sources. So really, affordable speakers is about the only place that I think there could be other options out there that may be a little bit better than the Sony SSCS5s or the ELAC BS41s. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, please give this video a thumbs up if you found any value. Consider subscribing to the channel. We have over 870 videos on everything from speakers, headphones, home theater, you name it. I've probably covered it if it comes to audio. You can support the channel by signing up for my Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Down at the bottom of the video, there's a thanks button. Click on it. Put some coffee in here, a little money in the tip jar. Don't feel compelled to buy me anything though. You can actually buy this mug too if you like. Not this specific mug, a mug that looks like this. And you can use the links in the description. Those will be affiliate links, which means if you click and buy, I get a commission. Doesn't cost you any more though, so it's a great way to support the channel. Also, check out these 2 videos over here. These are some pretty good videos. You might want to check those out. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Don't pay a bunch of money for your new hi-fi system and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.